Developed by Machine Games and published by Bethesda Softworks, Wolfenstein: The Old Blood is a standalone pre-sequel to the critically acclaimed Wolfenstein: The New Order that was released last year. War veteran BJ Blazkowicz is back, and this time he's on a mission to discover the location of a Nazi compound. Development began in 2014, shortly after the release of The New Order, and the game was released earlier this month on PC, PS4 and Xbox One. I'll try my best not to give too much of the game away, as there's nothing worse than everything being spoilt should you play it yourself. Now, many of you may ask, what's the difference between this game and The New Order? Well, honestly, not that much, but that doesn't mean to say that it's a bad game. The same gameplay styles can be applied. You can either take the I have no balls so let's play it stealthy approach, or play the come get some run and gun approach, which is admittedly my preferred method of play. It's entirely up to you though. The new weapons are basically rehashes of weapons from The New Order, but they still come off as feeling fresh and different. The good old dual wield function also makes a welcome return, and it is still just as mental as it was before. You're given the signature pipe or crowbar from Half-Life 2 in this game, which are utilised now and again for the climbing sections. Some people are claiming to find the alternate clicking for it awkward, others are finding it too simplistic and heavily overused. I sit somewhere in the middle on this one, as it's not too difficult to master, although it does seem a bit forced at times. The game split into two parts, or stories if you will, with the first part being the weaker of the two. In fact, the first 15 to 20 minutes could have easily been omitted from the game and it would have been far better for it. The fact you are forced to endure the stealth aspect of the game to work your way around these extremely irritating super soldatans is highly infuriating and really broke up the run and gun feel of the game that I'd come to love. Fortunately though, if you persevere past this, you'll be rewarded for it with the classic gameplay style that Wolfenstein is known for. The first storyline revolves around Rudy Jaeger and the disturbing canine, Greta, as you set out to obtain the top secret folder containing the location of Deathhead's compound. Whereas the second part finds you embarking on the journey to confront the evil Helga von Schabs and what she's been hiding from the world. There is one moment in the game where you are given a multiple choice option in order to progress. However, aside from gaining a unique achievement for picking either option, it doesn't appear to affect the storyline in any major way or have any detrimental effect on the overall outcome of the game's ending. The second half of the game introduces the Nazi zombies to the game, which are incredibly satisfying to kill.
Helga's gone. Took the folder with her. She's digging up something beneath the church ruins. Must have been what caused this shitstorm. What's your location?
I don't know. Adolf's workshop, close to the old town.
With gimmicks such as giant mecha robots that you can use to crush, slice, and dice, it really helps add to the craziness that BJ typically endures. If you play The New Order and are a retro junkie at heart, you'll be pleased to know that each chapter in the game now has its very own nightmare level, throwing you back to that 90s goodness that is Wolfenstein 3D. These are accessible via hidden mattresses that are randomly placed in each of the chapters. Having never played Wolfenstein 3D back in the day, I must admit I found it quite challenging to actually escape from these levels, as they truly have that never-ending maze feel to them. But nevertheless, they were still fun to jump into, especially as they also gained you a unique achievement for each chapter. I have to say, it's still very cleverly implemented within the game engine, and I have to give credit where it's due to the development team for embedding it so smoothly within the game, utilising the original asset files. The game also introduces a cover system, which admittedly I didn't actually use in the game until I realised that it was essential in order for me to acquire one of the perks, and basically for another achievement. And yes, as I'm a completist, I have 100%ed this game. It can prove to be useful, however I kept forgetting that the option was there. Speaking of perks, they are also back, many of which are required in order for you to utilise your weapons to their full potential. Audibly, the voiceovers in this game are extremely well done, as is the score and sound effects in general, showcasing some great work by Mick Gordon. Listening with headphones or playing with a surround sound system will allow you to truly get the best out of the game and helps to give you a true feeling of immersion. Alongside the 8 chapter long story, which I managed to get at least 6 hours out of with heavy replay value, we also have a new addition, Challenge Mode. These consist of challenges picked out from the individual chapters where you are effectively rushed by swarms of bad guys and your aim is to beat the high score in order to achieve a medal. In order to acquire every achievement, I had to play through this, beating them all on the I Am Death Incarnate difficulty. Admittedly, most of them, whilst challenging, were still surprisingly fun to play, with one notable exception, Wolfberg Square. This challenge seemed to hit me hard with the first 50 plus attempts, but I did manage to eventually overcome it after a lot of frustration. Some would say this is more of an afterthought to just increase the replay value of the game, and in fairness, they are probably right, but it didn't stop me from going through them all again. Just to clarify, there is no multiplayer here, and honestly, that's a good thing. In the day and age where many people see multiplayer as the sole reason to purchase a game, campaign-based games seem to be pushed into the background and often forgotten about. I see it in a different way. The fact that a development team is dedicated solely to working on the campaign allows them to stay focused and put all of their energy into the core game. Many other titles have often added multiplayer as an afterthought, and as such is performed like an afterthought, Tomb Raider being a perfect example of this. There are also a few little hidden throwbacks to other ID Software games, like this Quake 3 rocket launcher keychain that you notice in the opening scene. So in a nutshell, the story in this game isn't going to win any awards, but that shouldn't put you off. The visuals, on PC at least, are pretty impressive considering the limitations of the ID tech engine, and coming in at just under £15 upon its initial release, there really isn't any reason why you shouldn't pick this game up. It's a great FPS and is great fun to play. If I had to give it a rating, I would say it's a solid 9 out of 10.
Hip up behind you!
Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please hit that thumbs up button, it really helps me out. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe for more gaming videos.